All right, everybody, come on in, come on in. Thank you all so much for being here. We are so excited. Welcome to August 1st. And hi, everybody. For anybody new here, I am Maggie. Maggie, the substitute teacher. You may know me for my cooking channel. I make food and femininity content. Lucy and I are the founders of the Finishing School for the Modern Woman, and we have a very, very, very exciting announcement tonight. But Lucy, please introduce yourself and remind us, what are we talking about tonight?
Hi everyone. Hi Miss Maggie. Well, I have a channel mostly with Spanish content, learning how to speak Spanish from basic to maybe midpoint. And this year I decided to add more content about femininity and elegance and topics that affect women over a certain age. But going back to Maggie's comment about why I chose this particular topic, it's because for me, I tend to be more on social media than Maggie is. And I see a lot of things that are having to do with men and women, especially young women, not understanding the importance of keeping themselves as not jaded as possible, and that would be not having one after another relationship. So what was it, last Thursday or Saturday? I don't remember. I don't remember anymore. I think we discussed one or two items, and then today we're going to discuss the remaining part of that special video from Suzanne Venker.
Absolutely. So, as you all are coming in, like Lucy said, we are reacting to another Suzanne Venker video. This is part two. We've already done part one, and she's talking about how more relationship experiences impacts us. The popular thought is you need to try before you buy. So, we are going to pick up where we left off last week, but I can't wait. I cannot hold it. We have been waiting, waiting, waiting for this moment, and we have an announcement. So, it is now time. It is August 1st, and I am delighted with Lucy to let you all know that enrollment is open for the finishing school for the modern woman. You can go to teachablemomentswithmaggie.com. If any one of the moderators wants to drop the link, this is a shameless plug for our 8-week privately taught finishing school. We teach ladies all about etiquette, elegance, and femininity over Zoom. Classes will be September, October of this year. We have a discount code for you. You can use the code MaggieLou for $50 off. And this time around, it is new and improved. We have added to the curriculum. We will be covering femininity, elegance, etiquette, and emotional intelligence, because how you show up as a feminine woman on the inside, especially in environments that used to trigger you, is so important for the modern world today. So, if you want to learn from us, if you want to be included in next year's graduation with our guest speakers, where you come to Atlanta and we spoil you and wine and dine you, please go to teachablemomentswithmaggie.com and consider enrolling, because you really need a community of women that have the same femininity goals. And one of the things you will learn in the class is this is a lifelong journey. We can always get better. All right. So that was the announcement. Thank you so much, Gillis. Thank you so much, Aaron, Laura. Thank you all so much. It is open to women of all ages from 18 to 60 plus. All right. So
Can I
let
add
us,
something? Can
yes.
I add something? I just want to thank our moderators. They are here. They're so loyal to our chat, and specifically putting in those special links and information. Thank you so much, moderators. And I also want to say something about that thumbnail, that picture that you have of me and you with the blue. Can I just tell you that shows exactly who we are? Look at Maggie. look at her, and I think I told you when she came to pick me up at the airport, all I saw was that smile, those teeth. I saw them. I knew it was her. So that picture shows Maggie on her beautiful, amazing, just who she is self, and of course that shows me as introverted as possible.
Look, everybody needs an extrovert friend and everybody needs an introvert friend. That's why Lucy and I work so well together. And we did this last year where we did a dedicated Q&A stream about the finishing school. If you all would like for us to do that again, I know we have a lot of new followers, my page and Lucy's page, where you can ask your questions and we can take you through the curriculum. But it is an amazing experience. We are so excited. And one other thing, we have been asked to put together an advanced class called Wife Archetypes. So if you're interested in being a wife and you want to know what type of wife corresponds to either a high value man, a Henry, a hit squad, just what it means to be a wife in general. Lucy and I are both older women with marriage and long-term relationship experience. So if your mother didn't teach you or you didn't see it at home and you desperately want to be a wife and you want to win, we will have an advanced class in November of this year. However, you must take the flagship finishing school first before you can enroll in the advanced class. So now is your time. We only teach this twice per year and it's amazing. And when you come to graduation, you get professional photography. We just pull out the red carpet. I love taking care of our students and I could not be happier. So we hope to see you ladies in September. More to come. All right. Killa says we're kid and play. What do you call us? Maggie, Lou, Thelma and Louise, kid and play, everything. Y'all have nicknames for us, but yes, we absolutely love it. Okay, so let us pick up where we left off. We will play Suzanne's video and then we will pause and comment. Always love to hear what you all say. Or if you have questions about the finishing school, it's only open. Enrollment is open for the month of August. So now is your chance if you wanted to know. All right, so let me share my screen and sound and mute.
Today's young adults are long overdue for a new relationship narrative that sounds something like this. Whom you marry and how that marriage fares will have more effect on your happiness and well-being than anything else you do. It will be the axis upon which all other decisions are made: where you live, and how happy or content you will be with your life. You can't just swap out a spouse the way you can a job or a career. It makes no sense then to put that decision at the bottom of the list or to push it off as long as humanly possible while you focus on your career, unless you have no desire to get married and have kids. If you do, choosing the right person to marry should be your number one priority. I shouldn't just say choosing, finding, right? Finding the right person to marry. And here's another important part of this conversation. It isn't typically marriage, but having kids that creates the most upheaval in one's career, at least for women. In the past, getting married typically translated to having kids right away, but that doesn't have to be your story. You can still make marriage a priority without automatically including the children into the equation, if that makes sense. I mean, that's fine to do, obviously, but I'm saying that marriage and motherhood are not inextricably linked the way they used to be. You can postpone children somewhat despite being married. The point I'm making is that if you want to be a wife and mother, and you know that, then you make this life goal the priority by dating for marriage rather than for fun. That's probably the most countercultural thing I'm going to say in this video or in this podcast, because that's really the gist of it. Back in 2014, Matt Walsh of the Daily Wire wrote a great blog post about this very issue, and it was entitled, "Here's Some Honest Dating Advice." I'll have that article linked as well in the show notes, where he expounds upon the futility of dating for fun. Here's a portion of what he said. Quote, dating is a complicated and serious thing. It can also be fun, but it isn't something you should do for pure recreation. Dating is supposed to be a means to an end. Or maybe a better way of putting it is dating is a means to a beginning. To put it simply, if you know for a fact that you would never marry a certain person, then you shouldn't be in a romantic relationship with them. Knowingly staying in a relationship without a future is like riding a dying horse into the desert. It's a slow, painful death march, and there's no chance of it working out in your favor. So go ahead and date, but date with a purpose. Date with a goal. Date with your eyes toward marriage. End quote.
All right, so she said a lot there. We picked up where we left off, and I want to unpack this. The disclaimer we always say is over here, we believe in traditional relationships between masculine men and feminine women. I am well aware that there are a lot of different types of relationships, and not everybody wants to be a wife, and that's fine. Do what works for you. But if you want a relationship that is going to last the test of time, that has worked for hundreds and thousands of years, ladies, we have to be intentional about it. What she said about date with a purpose, date with a goal in mind. I cannot tell you how many young women I talk to. I do coaching and counseling outside of YouTube, and they just end up in relationships without really a thought, a plan, a conversation about what the end goals are. So I would advise all women, because we are the older women teaching the young, you need to make sure you know, number one, do you want to be a wife? If you want to be a boss babe, if you want to work until you're, 65, that's fine. Believe me, the men will allow you to. Nobody is going to stop what they're doing and come rescue you from yourself. So if you know you want to be a wife, I would say you exclusively date the caliber of men that you see as husband material, not because you're bored or lonely or want to go out or just need something to do. It may seem like a win in the moment. Believe me, you are wasting your precious time, which you do not have, and you are not building the relationship skills that you are going to need when you meet a real one. Because believe me, you will meet a man one day that could change your life, and then you'll be scrambling, and you don't want that to be you. So having that delayed gratification when it comes to the fun. Yes, you should enjoy your youth. Yes, you should, travel and go places and have, good experiences. But you don't want to only lead with the fun. Believe me, marriage can be fun. You can have a lot of fun with your man, with your significant other, but get that part of your life sorted. And believe me, you will relax and look forward to life, whether you put off family or have it immediately or don't have children at all. But once you have that part settled, like Lucy told me, Maggie, we have our men, we are set. You want to be set. What would you add, Lucy?
I agree. This dating to for fun, it just doesn't get you anywhere. In fact, if you are dating and from the beginning you set your ground rules that you say, you know what, I am looking for a husband. I am looking for the man that's going to be the man of my dreams. That's how you either you keep one, the man that's right for you will stay with you, or immediately they'll bail out. That's how I did it with both my husbands. My poor husband, God bless him. He tells me our first date, it was hilarious, but he knew from the beginning that this our first date, I was looking for something that was going to be long term. And it just, I guess, that dating for fun, for what? What kind of fun? The fun that you can have with that person that you love when you go somewhere and you know that he's not going to be able to make it. You miss that person. You want to have him around to enjoy life together. So again, it's that thing that, yeah, you are told to go out and have fun, date, just to meet many people and who you want to maybe eventually marry. But that first date with somebody that you're interested in, that date should tell you whether you can continue seeing that person or not. And that's fine. But to give yourself to every person that you are dating, it leaves you empty. It leaves you, you know how you have that French bread and the soft part inside starts being taken out and it only leaves the shell. That's how if you start dating like that, you're not going to have anything inside to give that special man. You're not going to have that full, soft, filled with white soft French bread once you get to that man. That's how I see it. I love bread. So I compare myself to bread.
Okay, we have gone from the potato that you don't want to be, the Christmas potato, to the French bread. I'm here for the analogies because all I was thinking is, ladies, don't be crusty. But Lucy's right. Ladies, having relationship skills, you have to work on that. They will atrophy, like the late, great Kevin Samuels used to say. And one of the saddest things is when I talk to women that can tell you who they've dated for years or decades, but no real relationship skills. So don't give away the soft, fluffy bread, and then you're left with the crust. Because unless you like crusty bread, that's not really what men are looking for. We got Suave D coming through with the $10. Thank you so much, always supporting. But yes, it's true. Always love to give you ladies some tangible advice. Like Lucy said, the purpose of dating is to determine if this is a suitable match for marriage or long term. That is it. This whole just going out and just because I'm bored or having fun, if you want to continue to do that when you're our age, 40, 50, 60 plus, that's an option. Like I said, nobody's going to stop you. But if you want someone who's emotionally invested in you, you have to be able to say no to some things. You have to be able to say no to a lot of things and vet just like you are being vetted. You should be having a conversation, ladies, and it's so much easier in the beginning. When I talk to women who have just been kind of hanging out or doing this thing, then they're 6 months, a year into it, and nobody said anything about, is this going anywhere? What are your life goals? What does success look like to you? This should be part of the conversation that you have in the beginning so you can see if this man is also marriage minded. It's extremely important because if not, you get to the end and you feel like you've wasted your time. Then you want to blame the man, but it was really you not dating with discernment. All right. Let's see what you all are saying in the chat. Excuse me, we got Mrs. Crotty Shetty in the house. She says this is true. We got Kay Renee's Garden. She says, I totally agree. Thank you all so much. I'm going to put you, Suave D, in the chat, and we will continue on with Miss Suzanne Venker. Again, if you all want to see part one, we did that last week. And as always, I linked the video in the description so you can watch the whole thing without our commentary. All right, so let's go back in and see what else she has to say.
So how do you do that? I'm actually going to cover that next week in part 2. In the meantime, another important reason why too much relationship experience is counterproductive is that most people develop deep emotional scars when their relationships end. I mean, how could you not? That's just sort of par for the course. I mean, if they were actual relationships as opposed to just hookups. People may deny them or try to push them away, but they almost always creep back up eventually. Some of these scars will be harder than others to shed, but they don't vanish just because you enter a new relationship. And if you've had multiple serious relationships, you can multiply the baggage. One's ability to trust diminishes with each broken relationship. The only way to avoid this problem is to either exclusively date for marriage, or if you're going to date casually, leave the sex out of it. If you ever wondered why dating in our grandmother's day was so much easier, it's because of that very thing, as I mentioned before, because sex wasn't part of the equation. Marriage proposals were so common in my mother's day, who I think I said earlier, I can't remember now if she was born in 1930, just FYI, that women had to turn down other potential husbands before deciding on the right one. completely inconceivable for women today, right? To even imagine. But as a young girl, I would find countless love letters that were stored in my mother's memory box, and many of them contained marriage proposals. I recall sifting through them and marveling at what it was like to have so many men pining for you. But again, the reason it was much easier for women in those days to find a husband is that dating was serious business. Marriage was the goal, so dating was therefore given the weight it deserves. And that fact, coupled with a lack of reliable birth control and a social expectation that sex was for marriage, I mean, let's face it, that was a big part of it, forced couples, as I said before, to keep things light. And the advantage of this approach is that it allows men and women to easily date around or to go out alone with the opposite sex and get to know the other person minus the sex. This is a young single woman's greatest trump card.
All right, ladies, let's unpack this, and hopefully you aren't, outside crying in the rain. But one of the things that I told, this is Crow T. Shetty, so incredibly generous. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the $50 super chat. Oh my goodness, we appreciate it so much. So grateful. Okay. So one of the things that I just told one of the consults in the session we had, ladies, you're going to have to be willing to go against the grain if you want a different outcome. We are well aware that the modern dating world, this hookup culture is prevalent where young people or even older people are getting intimate first and then figuring out if they want to stay around. That is completely the opposite of how it used to be. Now, you can say it's old fashioned and the times have changed, but if you want, and I would argue that you will want something more traditional when you're older, you have to lead with that now. You can't say, oh, yeah, well, I'll do that then. Now, we are not saying that you have to be a prude. No one is saying that you need to save yourself for marriage. If you do, that's a beautiful thing. But at least, like she said, I would offer that you should exclusively date husband caliber men. That way, if it doesn't work out, at least you had relationship experience with someone that you admire, respect, and can learn something from about yourself in a relationship, about men in general, the type of men that you would want to marry. The problem that I see is a lot of women rack up experiences with men that they knew from the beginning they had no future with. And then you get used to that type of treatment and behavior. And here's the problem, ladies. A lot of those men, in order to keep getting the soft French bread, they'll let you get away with anything. They'll let you talk any kind of way, dress any kind of way, talk to them any kind of way, because they know what it is at the end of the day. But then you start to think that's normal. Oh, I've got it like that. Nobody's requiring anything from me. Husbands require things of their wives. Being a wife, like the late great Kevin Samuel said, is a job, is a full-time role. Someone asked me this week, all the men I've dated, they've never required me to do anything. Sad to say, my man said, yeah, they don't take her seriously. That's why. So that's why I mean, ladies, it hurts you. You may win in the short term. Believe me, you will pay the price on the back end. So be selective. Be exclusive, save some things for someone that you actually see a future with, and then take it from there. What would you add, Lucy?
I agree. It's really interesting to hear the modern world, how dating, the first date, some ladies are just willing to give themselves to a random man, because if you think about it, that first date is to meet the person, to see if you're gonna go ahead and date that person for the second time or the third time. So it's really interesting to also see how not as special it is for some women to give that something that should be that special to you. And honestly, as women, we should take that act as something that you only give it to a man that's worth it. What man will show you he's worth it on the first date? So again, you have to just be a little more conscientious about who you're going to be intimate with. Of course, we're not telling you not to ever be intimate with someone, because modern women, it's going to be rare that you find somebody that is intact when they are in their late 20s, maybe on the early 20s, yes. And that's on the early 20s. If you're still intact, that's where you are like a precious commodity, and that's what you should use as your leverage to choose that man that will be taking care of you for the rest of your life. Of course, you're going to be together and taking care of each other together, but that's when the age that you're saying, you know what, I'm at my best here, and I will take the best possible offer that I can see. Like Suzanne Venker said, the mother in the 1930s, she read those letters from all these different men that wanted to marry her, and she had that leverage to choose that special man that got her heart. So again, you know, the dating world, I think that we need to change it, because a lot of women are getting hurt by living that this just, libertarian, liberal, anything goes life, when ultimately it hurts the women.
Agreed. Let's see what you all are saying in the chat. Gillis says this kind of lesson should be repeatedly taught. We're trying. We're here twice a week, y'all. Some of us don't listen when we're young. Repeated messages will have more chance to sink in. And thank you for saying that, because honestly, sometimes, privately, I'm like, I feel like a broken record. I feel like I'm saying the same thing. Is it even helpful? But I have to remember, like my stylist told me, someone is always seeing you for the first time. So every time you leave the house, and ladies, there's a little tip. Every time you leave the house, you want to be presentable. I have to remind myself, someone is always hearing us for the first time. And the internet is forever. This is part of our legacy. This is part of our drop in the bucket. So thank you so much for saying that, Gillis. All right, let's see what else you all are saying. Mrs. Crotty Shetty says, you ladies deserve it. You are both literally doing God's work. We appreciate that. We don't have daughters, but we have a heart for young women who want a different outcome. It's definitely doable. You just have to be willing to go against the grain. Erin Laura says, changing times seems a poor excuse when a lot of these first dates lead to children being born into single parent households. It's very unfortunate. Unfortunate is not even, to me, the word. It's just tragic. It's absolutely tragic. I've shared with you all, I am a divorcee. And, as a reformed modern woman who thought her big job mattered, I always put myself on the hot seat. But one of the things that I am proudest of, we have two teenagers, and they actually live with dad now. They were visiting me for the summer, but we co-parent really well, because ladies, even if the relationship doesn't work out, and I believe hold on and keep it together, but you want to make sure that if he's not the right husband for you, at least he's a good father. How do you even know anyone that you just met and you end up going all the way, and then you have kids, and then they have to live with that burden and that shame? Children get their identity from their father. This is just what it is. So if you start off their life with that big gaping hole, you're doing them a disservice. And unfortunately, a lot of women are selfish and just do not care. Suave D says, this is where we men dropped the ball. We didn't have ironclad, non-negotiable standards by which to hold women accountable. I've been guilty of this. As men, we have to let them know our standards. I love this right here. I always hesitate speaking to the men, because as a woman, I feel like that's not my place. We love the men here. They support and protect our community. But Lucy and I talk to younger women. But I will tell you, like I tell the boys as their mom, you're going to have to build yourself, and it's going to take time. But when you are ready, she has to get on your program. I think that's what will change. And I do think a change is coming. I think for whatever reason, men have allowed this, but there was a time when you couldn't just talk anyway in public. You couldn't just leave. Our fathers would snatch us back in the house. You're not wearing that. I mean, it was just common sense and commonplace. So I do think when men take their place, it's already happening. Men are turning their heads and going wherever they're going to find women that are getting on their program. So I support that 100%. And the women will fall in line because I do believe we're better together. And most women want to be with a man. If you don't, that's fine too. Work until you're 65. Next Level is here with the $10 super chat. Thank you so much. He says, salute, ladies. Have a great show. I have an early morning, so I can't stay tonight. Salute to the dogs. Lucy's dogs are always part of the show. We got the Magnum group saying, hey, ladies, what's up? Good evening to the chat. Thank you so much for being here. Aaron Laura says, yeah, tragic is more appropriate. It's sad. We got Jurgen across the pond. He says, most women marry with the goal of divorce and only to the top 15 to 20% of all men. Good morning from across the pond. Yeah, I will. Swab D again with the $5. Oh, thank you all. Are so generous. Such a blessing to us. I will say this, and I won't disagree with Suzanne, but I will say one caveat because Jurgen brought it up about women marry with the goal of divorce. I just think that's heartbreaking because men take a lot longer to get there. But once you have their heart, I treat my man's heart with the tenderest of gloves. I have so much respect for men. Ladies, not only, I believe, should you only date, if you want to be a wife, should you only date husband material? When Suzanne said you can casually date as long as you keep the sex out of it, that may be an option for you if you want to have experiences, but be upfront and do not take advantage of any man. Do not lead him on. Do not use his resources. Do not play any games. Karma is real and it will come back to you. The seeds that you sow, you will reap. So let's say you're college age and you're, saving yourself and you all want to go out group date or there's a play or a movie or something and you've had that conversation. We've got to open up our mouths and say, you know what? I got an extra ticket or I'd love to go with someone, this is just, a casual date. Be very clear about it and make sure that that man or that woman is in agreement. You don't want to play any games and lead people on. Believe me, you will be the one regretting the decisions that you made. I have seen it. All right, Mrs. Crotichetti says yes. All right, so let's go back in and listen to the next to the last segment. Were you going to add anything, Lucy?
No, the only thing is that you made a very good point about playing games. I think that we as women are born with that little DNA part of we can manipulate people because we're girls and we can do no wrong. And a lot of women take advantage of that. And unfortunately, in the modern world, they have gotten away with a lot. And the legal world is also not helping keep marriages together by saying we're going to give the mother everything and then take everything that the man has worked for to give it to her. So again, that's a different ball of problems. But again, and unfortunately, some of these women are finding out that being a single mother is not working out for them in the end because some of these young women leave their husbands for a better option, and that option only wanted them to play around a little bit. Once they realize that the woman has left that man to go with the better option, they're like, no, that's not what I wanted. In fact, I'm watching a movie about that. I'm sorry. And I'm going, oh my goodness, this is what happens in real life. So anyway, so again, young ladies, young wives that are having trouble in their marriages, and you get like that DM that says, "Hey, beautiful," and then you start hearing those those words that will maybe make you believe that that person wants the best of you. Nah, they just want to play around. The one that wants the best of you is that man that that you have the children with, and he will endure anything to keep that family. So think twice, 3 times, 10 times before you do anything wrong to your poor husband.
Absolutely. All right, let's go back in and see what Suzanne has to say.
Casual dating is different for women than it is for men. Because of their biology, women have fewer chances to establish a serious relationship that can lead to marriage. So it's more costly for women to not be intentional about their love lives. You just lose too much time. And the fact is that men don't have the same biological clock that women do. And as a result, they can always date younger women as they get older. So the rules of engagement for dating have to be different for women than they are for men. Let's face it, the current dating scene sucks. It's terrible. People are hanging out without any structure or plans for the future, which again doesn't teach you any skills that are going to help you build a successful marriage. These so-called situationships, which if you haven't heard, well, I'm sure most of you have heard, but situationships means you're in some sort of something with someone, but you have no idea what it is that you're in. These are a big fat time waster. A string of failed relationships are not going to prepare you for marriage. If anything, it prepares you super well for how to end a relationship. To go back to Matt Walsh, quote, "Drowning doesn't make you a skilled swimmer. It just makes you afraid of the water," end quote. There's also this. Once a woman becomes a mother, she will quickly determine that her life before she had her kids, pales in comparison and feels utterly irrelevant. The mindset shift is that big for both sexes, actually. All of which is to say, don't listen to those who tell you to forget about love and family and to focus exclusively on career. And if that message came from your parents, cut them some slack. They no doubt meant well, but they just really didn't think it through. Because if the goal for women isn't supposed to be marriage and family anymore, the way it has always been in the past, what's the message about sex and relationships in the meantime? How are you supposed to navigate that? Just have casual sex, or just be happy moving in and out of quasi-committed relationships as you stack up all this pain and heartache and wonder if you'll ever find lasting love? This is not an existence that's going to prepare you for marriage, which was the original argument. To circle back to that narrative, it was as follows. Don't marry the first person you fall in love with. The more relationship experience you have before getting married, the better. That way, you'll know yourself better when you say, "I do." It's painful when guidance you've received your entire life turns out to be flawed. But on the flip side, it's incredibly empowering to question the status quo of our dysfunctional dating culture and the relationship ideals with which you've been raised. In next week's podcast, I'm going to cover part 2 of this subject by listing 8 rules that you can put into action immediately, 8 dating rules, I should say, that you can put into action immediately if you're single and dating for marriage rather than for fun. And
OMG, that sounds like that'd be a great follow-up, Lucy. All right, so let's unpack this one, ladies. You don't want to rack up a whole bunch of experiences that are not going to be useful to the ultimate relationship that you want. I remember Kevin Samuels used to ask the women that, what relationship, all these experiences that you have, how is that beneficial to the husband that you want? So one of the things I coach ladies to do is you want to start thinking about your life. Kevin Samuels used to ask that, what do you want life to look like when you're 40, 50, and 60? Men think long term, and we women, we're really good in the moment. But I do want to challenge women to think about your 40-year-old self, your 50-year-old self, your 60-year-old self. And she said, life before children kind of pales in comparison. It does. But I would argue, even if you don't have children, once you get married, you kind of forget your single life, especially as the years go on. You know, the girls trips and the happy hours, you may do that from time to time, but the life that you're creating, the family that you have, takes priority. And so you're going to have this limited window of fun, if you will, but you're going to have a life, hopefully with a husband that you love and respect, and he loves and respects you. One of the things that saddens me that I see women do when they have a whole bunch of useless experiences, not only are they unprepared for a real relationship, but men value loyalty, ladies, they do. And when you show up on the dating scene after you've done everything that you want to do and you're asking a man to take, let's just say, what's left over. And yes, you still have value, but you gave your best years to whatever you gave your best years to, and then you're expecting someone to care for you and love you. But from his perspective, he didn't get the benefit of that. He didn't get your time and attention and your trust. So you're going to make it incredibly hard for yourselves. But when you age gracefully with a man who loves you, it's a much more relaxed feeling, and knowing that you're loved and cared for, and you know that you can sail off into the sunset or rocking chairs on the porch or long walks or whatever you're going to do. Believe me, you're going to have the rest of your life. So choose wisely. What would you add, Lucy?
The one part that I didn't quite agree with her is when she said, "Do not marry your first love," because I can tell you that I married my first love, and it lasted 11 years. And when you have that first love, you see nothing but that man for you. That man is everything, and nothing will keep you away from loving that man. Unfortunately for me, it didn't work out because there were issues, babies and stuff. It was different. And then after that, my job wasn't just to date, to have fun after my first love. It was to find that next husband for me, which is my husband right now. And believe it or not, men know whether you've racked up numbers or not. They don't even ask you. Those that ask you how many what's your body count? First of all, that's rude. Second of all, it tells me that that person hasn't been around long enough to kind of gauge on the behavior of the woman to know, oh, she's not that, she hasn't been out there for too long. So again, men know exactly what good men, those men that have had experience before, and that's why I love older men. My thing is older men because they know what they want, they know they've been there, done that, and now they're ready to give their masculinity and their provision and protection when they decide. So again, you know, um, I do disagree on not marrying your first love because if the first love is mutual, why not? What's keeping you from growing together if you're at that same age? Lucky for me, my first love was older than me, and I he taught me a lot. But I don't think that um, marrying your first love is not a thing. I think that why not?
I agree. And I think if we replayed it, but I want to come back, I want to come to what you all are saying in the comments. I think she was saying that is the advice out there. Don't marry your first love because you need experiences. I 100% agree with you. And I hope to remarry my first love. I've shared with you all that growing up in a small town, it was not uncommon that you would marry your high school sweetheart. People got married in their early 20s and they built a life together. And a lot of modern women, they miss that. They see where these people are 20 or 30 years later, and then they want to cherry pick and say, oh, I want that treatment. But that woman dedicated herself to that man through the lean years and everything. That's how you get the reward that you want. You don't get it on the front end. But I've shared with you all, I grew up with someone and I loved him dearly. I was raised to be a wife. I know I'm a relationship girl. Casual doesn't make sense to me because I'm going to want a relationship. So I'm going to be trying to create something out of nothing. But we know this about men now, that men take longer to get there. And he broke my little heart and said, no, I need to go live my life. So what did I do? Went to college and married my college boyfriend. And like I said, life brought me back to that first love. But I think it misses one thing that's really important to men. Lucy says this oftentimes, ladies. Men want to be our heroes. They want to teach us things. They want to customize us for them. But when you're bringing all these experiences, and no, they don't expect you to be a prude, but when you are comparing them and, demeaning them or making fun of them or talking slick to them and just doing things that you've been, all the bad behavior that you've been able to get away with, a man that you want is not going to put up with that. Men want a woman who looks up to them and admires them and appreciates them and is grateful for them and trusts them. These are all the things that when you don't have a lot of experiences, you have a tank full of love to give. But when you've just been giving it away left and right, my etiquette teacher asked, Maggie, do the ladies want to be a stadium or a VIP lounge? I'll let you all figure that out. Can anybody come in? Let's go back and see what you all are saying in the chat. We left off with Jurgen about how some women want to use men, unfortunately. And Aaron Laura shouting out to the dogs. Did I miss it? Oh, shout out to the sleeping dogs. Let's see. I lost my track. Okay, here we are. So let's see what you all are saying in the chat, and then we will wrap this one up. Aaron Laura is agreeing. Mrs. Crotty Shetty is saying yes. And Aaron Laura says, yes, the courts aren't great in deterring this behavior. And ladies, like it or not, this is what we asked for. These are the rights. This is the equality that you asked for. The pendulum has swung hard. And again, you think you're winning in the moment by stripping a man of his livelihood and taking his kids and humiliating him. Believe me, give it a couple years, 3 years, that man will rise like a phoenix. And that little win that you had, you'll be looking left and right for another man to come rescue you. And men watch how you treat other men. And if they see you going on social media and poking fun of and laughing and celebrating your wins or all the little trinkets that you've collected and all the things that you've gotten away with for other men, they will not touch you with a 10-foot pole. So I hope it was good, because that's all that you will get. Gillis says, my roommate's boyfriend made her go back and change her slutty shoes when we were going out one night. Good for him. She did it. Good for her. I didn't say anything. Good for you. But I thought, what the heck? Look, ladies, I understand. All of us women who live in modern times are going to have to beat back that, you can't talk to me that way. Who do you think you are? But I promise you, men only say that if they care. A man who doesn't care anything about you will let you go out there looking crazy and let you crash out, and you deal with it, because he was never invested anyway. So good for your friend, and good for you for not saying anything. But she says 20 years later, it makes sense. This point right here is why we do what we do. We're all going to age, ladies, and we don't want you to look back at the last 20 years with regret. We want you to look back and say, what a life. Been through some things, learned some things, but I'm happy, I'm proud, and I'm looking forward to the next 20. Jurgen is swearing away the single mothers, and it's true. Men don't want a ready-made family. And it's going to be a lot harder for you, because it reminds them that they weren't your first. It is a daily reminder of the other man that you gave yourself to. Choose wisely. Mrs. Crotty Shetty says, I agree, Lucy. It's just a game. And Erin Laura is giving Killis her dance club moccasins to put those shoes on. Erin Laura really likes Suzanne. Yeah, this content has been good. You all seem to really like it. Isaac says, I disagree. Do marry your first love. Guys don't like leftovers. And ladies, again, Suzanne said it in the video. Men have the benefit of time. We don't. We have a window of opportunity where we have our youth and our beauty, and that is our currency. You should spend it wisely. And when you give your best to the man, he knows that. Men know that you have the leverage. You could be out here doing anything. As soon as I was divorced, went through therapy, figured out what I did better, got right into a relationship while I was still in my mid 30s, while I still had a little bit of youth and some beauty. And now as I approach 50, I've put in the time. And so I get the reward. And we want that for you all as well. Erin Laura says, that's what I thought she meant from the perspective of modern dating advice, not necessarily her opinion. Absolutely. Suave D says, men want to feel needed. Men need to feel needed. It's so important to them that they have a primary place in your life. Stop walking around saying I can be bad all by myself, because you will find yourself by yourself. Aaron Laura says, shout out to Fluffy Bread and Full Tanks. Absolutely. This is great. We got Grown Men Talking saying much love and respect to you both. Blessings. Thank you, Jessica. Gillis says, swearing away. Maggie, you have a way with words. I forgot what I said already, but thank you. And thank you, Grown Men Talking. You all are so generous tonight. Thank you for the $10 super chat. He says, thank you for dropping gems. It's much needed in our community. Thank you for the respect. All right, Lucy, what would you say to close us out?
You know, I think about there's that happy wife school lady that says all that men want is to see us happy. And I think about my husband whenever he takes me to a new place. All he does is look at me to see what reaction I'm going to give him. You know, how am I going to enjoy the thought of him thinking about taking me to such restaurant or to a different place, to hiking? I remember the first time that we went hiking, it was a blast. And he was, so nervous to make sure that he took care of me. So again, all our men want is, again, to make us happy, to be our heroes. And it's time to start thanking them for being who they are. Thanking the good men for making our world a world that we can say we can do battle by ourselves. And then later on, coming back and saying, no, we need you, man, when it's already too late. So again, we're trying to keep you from getting to that point because, again, the universe, God created men and women for a reason, for us to be together, to be joined, and to create a beautiful society. And unfortunately, we're in a place right now where things are getting crazy. So we need to go back to our natural, beings that we are and start appreciating each other for what we can all offer.
I could not have said it better. Thank you so much. Rick Campbell is here from Canada. Egg to you. Absolutely. Thank you all. I'm so glad this was helpful. Lucy and I are here twice a week. We like to give back. We will just stay tuned on our channels. We'll let you know when we're going to react next. Maybe we'll do a Wives Club episode. It's the first Friday of the month, so you all can tune into Kevin Samuel's channel tomorrow. And then we'll connect with you maybe Saturday. But it's true, ladies. We want you all to win, and we want you to learn. We want you to win for the long term. And we don't want you to be short-sighted and get caught up with the modern woman mindset, and then you live with misery and regret for the rest of your life, because there's nothing worse than seeing a woman who had the opportunity in her hands and she squandered it away. So yes, this means that you're going to have to go against the grain. Yes, this means you're going to have to actually look at men with love and respect. Yes, this means you're going to have to be selective with your choices and who you give yourself to. But believe me, there's nothing better than knowing that you are set, your future is set, you've created a life that you can be proud of, and enjoying the simple moments. All the good things will come. Believe me, the trips will come, the gifts will come when you appreciate the small things. What did my man say? He's like, yeah, I just got to know that I can do the regular with you before we do all the other stuff. So give it time, wait on that delayed gratification. The good men are worth it. And again, a shameless plug. We are so excited. If you all know anyone, if you are a woman from the ages of 18 to 60 plus, and you want to enroll in a private course, 8 weeks, we have guest speakers, we have new improved content, which will be available to our former students and current students. So anytime we have new guests, you are basically joining a community of women who are committed to living a life that promotes our femininity, our elegance with etiquette. The finishing school for the modern woman enrollment open today. There is a discount code for you. It is Maggie Lou. It gets you $50 off. We teach the course live. You have lifetime access to the materials. We have workbooks that we actually ship to your home so you can take notes. And we have an amazing graduation where you all can come to Atlanta and I roll out the red carpet for you. I just give you the best experience ever. So go to teachablemomentswithmaggie.com to learn all about it. And class starts in September. We only teach it twice a year. And if you want to take our advanced class in November, this is a prerequisite. Thank you. So the Canadians are shouting each other out. Gillis says that men make the world a safe place. There's nothing like a good man. Absolutely nothing. That is so true, ladies. And those of you with the long lists, believe me, having a good man change your life. It will just change your life. Jurgen says in everyday life, peace is the most important thing in marriage. Yes. And that's the thing, ladies. Men require that. If you don't bring peace into their life, they will not marry you because men look at not right now, but can I live with this for 10, 20, 30 years? So choose wisely and be his peace. Rick says, indigenous, gender equal society. Yeah, we don't believe we're equal. We believe we have equal value, but we are very different. And Suave wants to know if any of the recent graduates are near Philly. I do know a couple. So you can inbox me, Maggie the Substitute Teacher, at gmail.com or on any platform. All right, everyone. So we will see you all very soon on my channel or Lucy's channel. Until then, we will say
Yes.
adios.